Okay, let's talk about something that I think every single one of us has been on one side of, or maybe both. We're diving into the psychology of being late.
Oh, you know this feeling, don't you? You're there, you're on time, you're at the restaurant, you're checking your phone. Again. You send that little text, "Hey, you close?" It is so frustrating, and you can't help but think, is this about me?
Well, here's the twist. What if I told you that, for the person who is always late, it almost never has anything to do with you? Yeah, the real story is way more complicated and honestly, a lot more interesting than that.
That's right. The number one assumption we all make is that being late is a sign of disrespect. But the psychology behind it tells a totally different story. For people who are chronically late, the real reasons are buried way deeper than just not caring.
And let's be super clear about who we're talking about here. This isn't about the person who hits a surprise traffic jam every now and then. Nope, we're talking about the person for whom being late is, well, it's a lifestyle. It's a consistent pattern that they just can't seem to shake, even when they really want to.
So this is the big takeaway right here. We've got to reframe this whole thing. Instead of taking it as a personal insult, think of it more as a symptom of that person's really unique and often kind of messy relationship with the whole concept of time itself.
So, to get a better handle on this, experts have kind of broken down the chronically late into a few different types. And as we go through these, I want you to think, do any of these sound like you? Or maybe someone you know all too well?
Now, there are a few different personas, but for now, let's just focus on two of the biggest ones you're going to run into: the optimist and the thrill seeker. I swear, just understanding these two will explain so much. All right, first up, the optimist. You know this person. This is the person who is just pathologically hopeful about how much they can squeeze into a tiny window of time. They are the absolute champions of just one more thing.
Does that sound familiar? The crazy thing is, they genuinely believe it. They aren't trying to mess with you. They honestly think they've found some kind of secret shortcut in the universe that only works for them.
See, the optimist's brain is always, and I mean always, running on a best-case scenario filter. They only see the clear path ahead, with zero traffic and all green lights. They totally ignore all the little things that can and do go wrong for the rest of us. They aren't lying to you, they're lying to themselves about how time works, planning their day for a perfect world that just doesn't exist. Okay, now for our second type, and this one is a completely different animal. Meet the thrill seeker. This person isn't an optimist. No, they're an adrenaline junkie. And their drug of choice? The deadline.
For the thrill seeker, being on time is just kind of boring. The peace and quiet of getting somewhere early, it does nothing for them. What they need, what they crave, is that heart-pounding rush of racing against the clock.
So for this person, it's not really about miscalculating time. It's about twisting time to get a kick out of it. They subconsciously create these little mini crises, like leaving the house knowing it's almost impossible to make it, because that stress, that pressure, is what makes them feel sharp, focused, and totally alive.
Okay, so we know about the optimist and the thrill seeker. What now? How do we take this cool psychological insight and actually use it? Whether you're the one who's always late or the one who's always waiting around. Look, the goal here isn't about pointing fingers or trying to fix someone. It's about realizing that these are really deep-seated habits. And once we can approach it with a little empathy, we can start figuring out better strategies that work for everyone.
And there are practical things both sides can do. If you're the late person, it all starts with just being honest with yourself. If you know you're an optimist, start tacking on an extra 25% to how long you think anything will take. And if you're the punctual one, the trick is to stop taking it personally and just set clear boundaries. You're not being mean, you're just managing your own time. Something like, hey, the movie starts at 7 and I'm heading into the theater at 7:05 whether you're there or not. That's not a threat, that's just clear communication.
When you get right down to it, it all boils down to one simple truth. Every single one of us experiences time in a different way. For some people, it's this rigid, solid box. For others, it's more like a flexible, flowing river. And neither one is right or wrong, but figuring out which one you are is the first step to making your way in a world that runs on a clock.
So, I'll just leave you with this one question to chew on. Whether you're the optimist, the thrill seeker, or the person checking their watch, just ask yourself, is your relationship with time actually working for you? The answer to that? Well, that might be everything.